Hello YouTube, I'm Vince White. I'm an employment attorney, and on this channel we answer publicly posted questions from YouTube users, getting folks the answers they need from an employment attorney. It's a Saturday, but I'm here working. What choices have I made in my life that I'm here working? Want to do something a little more long form though today. This is something touching upon kind of a plague upon our industry right now, and I think a long form, a little bit more detailed video to give context and examples will do more to help with that than perhaps my usual quick answer a question into the camera for 5 to 8 minutes. So we're going to try it out. If you don't like it, give it a thumbs down. I'm okay with that. Recently, I was at a bit of an attorney, group bitch session, I guess is the best way to put it. Everybody was kvetching about, their various work and employment law. We had defense attorneys, we had plaintiff side attorneys, we had partners, we had associates, we had research and writing attorneys, we had trial attorneys, we had owners, partners, people, it was a real nice crew, brought together by some sad circumstances. Someone in our field passed, and that's a bummer. Good litigator. I was going to say good person, and I paused too long. Good litigator. Very good litigator. Let's just keep going. But it brought together a really interesting crew of people, and drinks were flowing. I don't really drink anymore, and people got real specific about artificial intelligence and what it's doing to our industry. Not in the sense of like it's all the associates will be fired, or like all the research and writing attorneys will be gone. That's not the context of this. It's more like, hey, are your guys using AI and like making problems? Is that going on for you too? And funnily enough, it's going on both sides. It's going on the defense side for their defense clients. It's going on the plaintiff side. Like all the clients are using AI, and more often than not, it creates some issues. So listen, everybody was talking, and I whipped out a notebook to start taking notes, because I have this had real value for the people on the channel, and maybe there's something this channel could actually do about this issue, right? And I'll be honest, the notebook made everybody really uncomfortable and kind of shut down the conversation for a solid 5 minutes, but I was able to smooth things over. Mostly, I'll be honest, I think there's a couple people who stopped talking because I took the notebook out. But overall, most of the people, or at least the people who'd already had 2 or more drinks, kept going. And everyone protected client confidentiality, and, nobody's doing anything wrong. But, we got into some specifics, some specific stories stripped of identifying characteristics that I think we can share here as cautionary tales for clients and pro se litigants in the realm of employment litigation and what's going on. Okay. Apparently the fire trucks are going on right now. I don't know if you can hear them, but they are probably picking up my audio because we're on the 21st floor and still just like they're inside the room. All right. First example. Somebody's client tried to use ChatGPT specifically as their expert witness to substantiate their emotional damages. And you're going to see me reading my notes here. I know usually I just talk into the camera. A little bit more, a little extra. I want to get everything right. So I'm going to read a little bit here. Now, ChatGPT is not qualified to be an expert witness on the topic of emotional damages. It is not a court. First off, it's not a certified therapist, not a mental health professional of any kind. There is no certification, so far as I know, or education that has taken place with ChatGPT to substantiate its credentials in order to give you an emotional damages opinion. It does not have the standing to give you an emotional damages opinion, even if it was thought to be a person. And I don't think that AI has achieved personhood yet, to the best of my knowledge. So, 1, not a person. 2, not a qualified person. But, like, there's a bit more to that. And I'm going to give a little extra. We're not talking about one of my clients here. This is somebody else's client. But there is a quick story I had, quick interaction I had with one of my clients who kind of floated the same thing. Like, hey, I don't really want to treat with a therapist. I lost my insurance, so, like, can't we just get an opinion from, like, AI to, say my emotional damages are worth, like, $300K? Well, no. For the reasons already discussed, it's not a qualified person in any way. But also, like, I was a little snappy, I was like, listen, I prepaid for a therapist for you, a legitimate trauma therapist who can actually help you. $400 an hour. Honestly, a famous therapist. Like, not famous in the sense of, like, just a talking head who testifies, but, like, actually famous for helping people. For helping people in terms of the trauma that you experience specifically, and with PTSD and things of that nature. And I gotta tell you, I prepaid for you because you told me you didn't have insurance. And I want you to be okay. I also want to win you more money. I want to win you more money in your emotional damages verdict. So, can you get your head out of your ass and go to the fucking therapist that I paid for, who will help you? Because you are obviously suffering. And obviously we want to win you more money. And why are we talking about you getting an opinion from an AI about your emotional damages? How asinine, like, on the meter of how stupid a conversation could be. I'm really suffering, and I do really want to win as much as I can in this case. I just don't want to speak to a therapist, even though the therapist will actually come to my home or have a Zoom with me, depending on my needs, because it's often hard to leave your home when you're dealing with the consequences of extreme trauma. Like, I understand that. And I get it. It's hard to talk about your trauma. It is. And I don't want to minimize that. But, like, are we really, like, you have 2 goals, as I understand it. You want to get better and win more. So, we're going to have AI issue an opinion? I mean, come on, right? Like, this is wild. This is not effective, not intelligent, right? Moving on from that opening example. Case citations. I got to be honest with you. All the attorneys, defense attorneys, plaintiff side attorneys, our firm, clients will come to you with cases that they, like, dug up in AI. They're like, hey, this case has the exact holding we need for the argument that you told me wouldn't work. Great. Give it to me. Listen, very surprising, because we had 3 people look into this and no one found any authority supporting your position at all. But give us the site. Client gives us the site. We follow the site. The case does not exist. Ghost cases. AI is actively creating ghost cases. It makes up cases that do not exist. And, like, the extent to which they do not exist, let me tell you, is extreme. Like, it's not just that the case is not at the place that is cited to, because the purpose of a case citation is to find the case, right? And then further to find the exact holding within the case that you're citing to. Now, the sites aren't just wrong. There's no way to find the case at all, right? You have other data about the case. There's names, there's headings, there's index. There's stuff in the site that you can use to try to find the case other ways. These cases do not exist. They are fictional cases created in seconds by hyper-powerful AI. I couldn't tell you why AI likes to make things up, but it does. And I'm not an AI engineer. I can't speak to that, but I can assure you it happens. Everyone had seen that, and the general tenor from the clients is, why are you disagreeing with me? It took me 10 seconds on AI to find this holding. Obviously, this is the legal argument. And you're just like, yeah, that holding does not exist. All the case law says you are wrong. This is a terrible argument that's already been defeated like 40,000 times. And you're trying to get us to make the argument based on a fictional case, a ghost case that does not exist, that you Googled for 10 seconds, not even Googled, that you popped into AI for 10 seconds and didn't check the site on. And we have checked every permutation, every searchable mark on that case. It does not exist in any jurisdiction in the land. And our clients, very savvy, will say, oh, sorry. It's cool. I get it. You're trying to get involved. Like, it makes sense. And like, AI is not useless. Sometimes people turn up valuable stuff, and frankly, it's probably stuff we already have. But that being said, like, I get why you want to be involved. I get you want to be part of the process. If there's something you want us to look at, we're thrilled to look at it. Not a problem, right? But when we come to you and say, hey, that case actually doesn't exist. That's a fictional case made up by AI. The response should not be, and according to many of the people at this roundtable, has been, oh, I guess you're incompetent. You can't even find the case. Okay. Can you find the case, you moron? Like, what? Did you follow the site? Do you understand that AI is a new technology, and like there's ghosts in the machine, and it kicks out ghost cases sometimes, and they're just nonsense. They're gibberish made up. No. You guys just don't know what you're doing. Okay. And that's even funnier. So like plaintiff side attorneys, a little more used to this stuff, right? We're a little more like, all right, like, listen, how many ways do you want me to explain this to you? Right? Case doesn't exist. But there's like, we're used to that a little bit. Defense counsel, very up in arms. You pay us $1,600 an hour because we're effing incredible at what we do. We torture plaintiffs. We shut down claims. We settle claims for 20 cents on the dollar for you routinely. We have gotten you out of so much dumb shit. Racist, bigoted, other forms of discrimination, sexual harassment. We get you out of so much. And you're going to come in here and tell us that we don't know when a case doesn't exist? That's the conversation we're going to have? And apparently, it really is. Like, there's like grumpy CEOs being like, not even a case. You can tell somebody they're too old for a job. And no, you can't. Like, that is age discrimination on its face. Like, and these defense attorneys are just dealing with it non-stop. Just morons, overcompensated idiots coming to them being like, ChatGPT says this isn't even a claim. And it's just like, dude. Now, I'm going to build on this a little further. Ghost cases are very real, and they happen. What is even more common is that many forms of AI, most forms of AI, and I'm going to include most of the legal AI services because we've tested, we look into it. It's interesting. If there's something we can use to service our clients better, provide better research, so on and so forth, we look at it. Across the board, the products we've looked at within our industry, so legal slanted products for plaintiffs, products for litigators, law research, everything. But also, without question, the large AI companies as well, ChatGPT and so on. Generally, AI does not appear across the board to understand how case law works. And let me get into that. You can run a search in AI and get a finding from a tribal council somewhere. Now, I'm not in any way shitting upon the legal merits of a finding by a tribal council. That could very well be a very legitimate lawmaking body or judicial body, right? I don't think there's anything negative about having tribal judges. I don't think it's any worse than what we do in New York, which is make a donation to a singular political party and then get a guaranteed slot as a judge. Allegedly. Let me throw in the allegedly, right? But the AI does not appear to understand things like, hey, this case was in a different country. Different country, different continent altogether. Yeah. It does not seem to be able to differentiate federal findings from state court findings, from local court findings. It appears to be even more confused by the findings of arbitrators, which it almost seems to think do not exist, or conversely are all powerful. Almost elevating certain cases by arbitrators to the status of oh, well, this person's a deity, and what they say is the law of the land. And I certainly appreciate the vote of confidence. I work as an arbitrator. Thank you so much. I would love to be a god, but I'm not, right? But I'm not. And my findings, well, binding and important, probably don't carry more weight than the findings of a federal judge, if we're being honest, right? AI does not seem to understand district courts and the silos of case law that exist in the district system. And it also doesn't understand the weight of precedents, right? If you're in a district court, like the Southern District of New York, right? Federal court. And there's no case law on the topic you're looking up. But there's a federal court in Montana that did find on this. And the case law is useful for you. Well, if there's nothing in New York on this, you're going to use that case law from Montana, from the federal court in Montana, right? But it's not going to have the same weight of precedence because it's not that court system. It's a weaker case to cite. And if that's all you got, that's what you go with. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? That's you make the best argument you can on a given point. That's the game. But let's be real, you need to understand that. And I assure you, at no point that I've ever seen AI operated by professional AI operators doing showing us how their product works, right? Has any AI ever been able to exhibit any even basic understanding of the weight of precedence of cases? It just does not appear to exist in their world. I get it. It's a fairly subtle concept. I'm not of the opinion that AI will never grasp it. I'm just telling you right now, June 14th, 2025, there appears to be no grasp of this concept whatsoever among any of the major AIs or even the specialized law AIs. And I'll be frank with you, all of the specialized law products that I've looked at for AI are, one, they appear not to actually be AI. They're like just products that slam AI in the name, but they're like research products, but probably not in any way exhibiting the powers of artificial intelligence. But further, they're not superior to the current existing research apps, LexisNexis, which I love, and Westlaw, which I hate, but which is a viable product. I do view Westlaw to be scoundrels, just to be clear. Some personal aggravation there. So just, it's important to understand these things when you're talking about case law, because it drastically changes the merits of your argument, the strength of your argument. And listen, you can make arguments like, Judge, nobody's ever found on this before. I'm asking you to make law. I'm asking you to, this is a first impression, a matter of first impression for this court. And you have a chance. You have a chance to make law here. Your case, your finding, will be cited by hundreds, if not thousands, tens of thousands. So make it the way we want. Make it in our favor. This is the right and just thing to do. It, under public policy, would be better for society and this country, and it would be better for justice, Judge. That's a fine argument. Listen, that's an uncomfortable argument. You'd rather be like, listen, Judge, bigger judges than you have sided with us before, and your peers routinely side with us on this issue. I don't know that you necessarily want to go the other way, because that might be inviting an appeal, Judge. You know, and nobody's getting smart with the judge like this. We're not saying it like this, but that's the subtext, right? Hey, this is, to quote the league, it has been decided. Like, it's decided. This is the case law. Case law can be reversed, but it's rarely done. Generally in our system, right? Okay, next, moving on. Even where a case exists and is properly cited and is in the correct jurisdiction, you will find it often is misused in a couple of different and very odd ways. Let me get this. Okay. This is going to sound very strange to you, but this has been verified by multiple attorneys. You'll get a case citation out of AI. Case exists. AI says the holding is X, Y, and Z, right? You're like, oh, wow, that is a wild holding. What? This is directly on point. This is incredible. Let's look at the citation. Let's go find where in this case that is the holding, and how the court reasons and how they spell it out for us. This is all going to be very important to us, right, as we make our arguments. The sentence that the AI said existed just doesn't. The case exists. The citation is correct in every way, except that within the case where it says that sentence would be, no such sentence exists. That is bonkers. Attorneys have been sanctioned for this. Like, no good attorneys, to be clear. But like, actually, you know what? Let me take a step back. I don't want to shit anybody. I don't know any of the attorneys who've been sanctioned on this. I don't know anything about them. I'm not going to say they're good or bad. I do think they might have been a little irresponsible to use an AI citation without checking it thoroughly, right? That's not a good look for an attorney. Probably seeing that, I would never hire such an attorney, right? That would not be, I'd be like, you're not careful. Details matter. Like this is someone's life, right? But let me not go too hard on them. This happens often. There's a second thing that happens. The sentence will exist, but it'll be surrounded by other sentences. And the AI will misunderstand or misconstrue the actual holding of the case because it will focus on one sentence, but in context, the finding could be the exact opposite or simply different, right? And you read the paragraph and you're like, this is not the holding. Like you say that the holding is X, Y, and Z, but it is in fact GEF, or GTFO, frankly. It's just not, it just doesn't hold what you say it holds, AI. The holding is not, the holding cannot stand. Like, it just doesn't exist. This is happening all the time. This is one of the most common issues. I would argue this is more common a result when using AI for legal research than a correct result. Sincerely. That is my personal experience. Just, I think it's important for you to know that. Okay? Next example. Please, if you're not represented, or even if you are represented, people will want to get in complaints, protected activity. They want to get a complaint of discrimination, a complaint of sexual harassment, and it can provide them some protection against retaliation, right? There is a trend of people having artificial intelligence draft their complaint, their protected activity. The issue with that is AI does not appear to have any grasp over what is and is not rising to the level of protected activity. So it will draft, often under a politeness filter, a complaint that falls short of locking in your protections. I have personally seen this 3 times in the past month. This can gut a retaliation claim. It can erase, in all fairness, it can erase a retaliation claim from the board entirely. Do not have AI draft your complaint to HR. Do not have AI draft any protected activity for you ever. Have an attorney review it. If you don't have an attorney, there are walkthroughs, I think on this channel, frankly, but also there's really good sites and resources for plaintiffs out there. You can just use the old-fashioned Google and find those sites and go through their 3 pages of guidance on how to complain in a protected fashion and locked in protections against retaliation. And those sites are run by attorneys and vetted and have been up for years and help people. And you can't really, in this industry, say the same for AI at all. In this industry, and I think in litigation in general, AI is significantly more likely in June of 2025 to harm a litigant using it than to help. And listen, I have some clients who are very savvy with AI. So this is a generalization. Okay? Humorous example. One attorney at the table had received a grievance that had apparently been drafted by AI. So this attorney had a client was unhappy, felt the attorney did something less than optimal in their case, filed a grievance to the Bar Association. Grievance starts with some language about how the attorney fell short, and then a couple of paragraphs in, started to have gibberish in it. Talk about souffles and how the attorney failed to make the souffle rise. Just gibberish and nonsense. The Bar Association contacts the attorney and they're like, you received a grievance, which we have to follow up on, but is this person well? Bar Associations knew concern is like, hey, did you represent someone who's so unwell they didn't have capacity to hire you? Like, should this person be in a conservatorship? Like, is there some kind of, like, are you bilking an unwell person for money? And there is like, no, this person's like a savvy, like, real estate investor, like doing all kinds of stuff. Like, this person knows what they're doing in life. And the bar association's like, well, apparently not, because this grievance is just gibberish. And of course the attorney is like kind of aware that the client was always trying to like foist off AI stuff during the litigation. And that's probably why the client's unhappy now, because the client believes the things AI is telling it, even though they're not true. And so the attorney and the client would like fight about this, and that's why the client's angry. And the bar association doesn't understand that. The bar association's like, hey, this person's angry, but they're writing crazy stuff about souffles. Like, did you guys make souffles together as part of, like, is there a souffle component to that case? Was this person a chef? What are we talking about here? Right? And it's just like, where do you want me to start? Like, this is wild, right? And I feel for this guy. Like, I really do. The entire way the conflict arose was basically like client believing AI over the advice of counsel, and AI just vomiting nonsense. And then even the grievance, the guy trusts AI too much, doesn't even read what AI pumps out for him. He just sends it as a grievance to the bar association. And this attorney's like, I don't even know where to start. Like, what? How do I answer a grievance with a paragraph about how I didn't let the souffle rise? Like, what goes on? You know. Last example, and this is an epidemic in this field, on the plaintiff side especially. Although there were some examples from the defense side. Clients will plug in like the loose facts of their case. The loose facts of their case, often some very favorable facts, right? Clients like to use very favorable facts. So they often don't see the risks in their case. Into AI, they'll plug it in AI and they'll say, what's this case worth? Or from the defense perspective, you know, if you're like a employer who's like getting sued, you're like, what's my liability on this case? Like, how much could I lose, right? And here's the issue. There's multiple. One, generally speaking, clients tend not to see the risk factors in their cases. One of which is often the client themselves. There's a lot of people where you're like, hey, you got a great case, but like, whew, I cannot put you on the stand. No. Your communication skills are probably the thing holding you back the most in your life. Or, boy, are you really like to get aggressive with people and over like nothing. Can you share your name with the court? You can go F yourself. Okay. You're not going to be a good witness. Right? It's not like, I don't know if the jury's going to love you. Can we take it down a notch? But there's just so many things that can be risk factors in cases that clients often won't understand. One great example is like, hey, I think this person is discriminating against me. We do too. We believe that. Here's the issue. This person is a monster and treats everyone horrifically. It's the asshole defense. And clients will be like, yeah, but I got my protected class and they treat me negatively. So, discrimination. Like, yeah, again, we believe you, but like, here's the problem. People without your protected class are also treated the same way. That's an issue, right? We can't really prove it's discrimination because, this person screams at everybody. Kind of like the Devil Wears Prada situation, right? Like, she's bad to everybody. So it might just be she's a bad person, and it's legal to be a bad person. It's just not legal to discriminate or sexually harass or retaliate, you know? And that can be kind of a tough concept for certain plaintiffs to wrestle with. So it's just an example, right? There's a lot of risk factors. So when they're plugging in their case into AI, I assure you, they're not putting in the risk factors. They're not putting in the things that would cause an attorney concern on the case, right? They're also often not really inputting correct compensation data, correct emotional damages data, and they don't really understand the nature of punitive damages when they're asking these questions. And largely they're hoping AI will understand for them, right? That's why they're doing it. It doesn't. It just doesn't. There's no other way to say it. AI does not have a firm grasp of punitive damages. So far as I can tell, AI does not have a firm grasp of emotional damages. AI has some grasp of economic damages, but it is reliant upon the person using the AI to accurately report, which many people do not. Right? As an employment attorney, I will tell you this. If you ask somebody how much they earn, they will give you an answer. If you then say, great, I need your W-2s and your 1099s. Often, the answer will change. Because, of course, the answer as to what their income actually is recorded on the W-2s and the 1099s, which will then go to the IRS, right? And plaintiffs tend to have a general notion that the more they earn, the more they might win. So they might think of the best year they ever had. 10 years ago, I made 400 grand, so I make 400 grand a year. Okay, yeah, that was a great year. You made 180 a year since then. Just 10 years straight, you made 180. Well, yeah, but I made 400 10 years ago. You did. So say we all. You make 180 a year right now. You've been making 180 a year for the last 10 years. And really the most relevant are the last 3. You've made 180. So going forward, we're going to have a very tough time arguing that you're going to make 400 every year. We can argue that you have standout years, and we should take that into account in the economic calculation. But let's be honest, it's a one-time thing. It's a one-time thing in your career. It happened once 10 years ago, and you have not been setting the world on fire since. And that's okay. You're doing great. And this case is good. But we can't argue you make $400,000 a year, right? AI is not going to do that with you. AI is not going to ask for confirmation of your W-2s. But you're still going to get a number. It's going to give you a number. And you're going to be like, oh yeah, AI said my case is worth 30 mil. Right. Sure. Okay. Right. I'm going to go a little bit further on this. AI often relies upon journalistic reporting of case verdicts. As with journalism around science discoveries, journalism around medical discoveries, journalism about litigation verdicts is largely fictionalized. Just to be frank with you, right? Like, great example is like, oh my God, this guy who worked for FedEx won $30 million. Great. Did he collect? Did the judge knock that down? Oh, it's not in the article, is it? Okay. So you got to go look at the case. Okay, the judge knocked it down. Then there was an appeal. He hasn't collected yet. Hypothetically, right? Like, I don't actually know if that case is collected. And I'm not even correctly quoting the numbers in that case, right? It's been a while. But there's like a FedEx case that people throwing in my face. Like, why can't you win me 30 mil? I'm just like, that guy didn't win 30 mil. That was a jury verdict that like will not stand. Like, that's not a thing. Even reporters would call me up and be like, what do you think of this case? I'm like, I think it's just a jury who got wild, which I love. I love a big verdict out of a jury. I'd rather protect a big verdict out of a jury any day of the week than fight about a small jury verdict, right? Like that's not, it's much better. I'm not, and thank you, jury. I'm not like mocking the jury. Like that was, to my mind, the 30 mil was the correct number, which what the number should have been to serve justice. It is not the number which will survive, because it's not the number calculated as per the very clearly set out process for calculating damages in this field under the statutes and the case law. So while it is a big, impressive number, it is also largely meaningless, right? And AI will heavily rely upon that. AI also, it is worth noting, has no access. None. Zero. Has zero access to all the confidential settlements. So about 99% of all settlements in this country through the entire pendency of employment law, going back to 1964, and maybe even a little bit before. Like, overwhelmingly, these settlements have all been confidential. Confidential settlements don't get uploaded to AI models for review. The AI does not train on them. So the AI is training itself on fictionalized headlines and journalistic reporting that do not correctly, like literally one of the larger employment cases that people will try to argue about. The judge, when he got the verdict, wrote, "I'm not even going to bother knocking this down because it won't survive on appeal." But AI doesn't go in to the record to review that. It doesn't know that. It just knows that 30 major national news outlets reported of a huge verdict, right? And it's like, okay, but this is meaningless. This is nonsense. And it is something we are hearing from clients over and over and over again. Why does AI say my case is worth 16 times what you say it's worth? Because AI doesn't know what it's talking about. AI has not been properly trained to value a case. AI lacks the judgment in June of 2025 to understand the risks of your case. So, first off, are we talking about settlement value, where we're hedging for risk? Or are we talking about what you might win at trial? And if we're talking about what you might win at trial, are we talking about what a jury might give you? Or are we talking about what a judge might uphold? Or even further down the line, are we talking about what might withstand appeal? Because those are three different numbers. Sincerely, right? And it's tough to have these conversations with folks, right? Like, people are like very aggressive, like, but you're telling me it's only worth this, you're selling me short. But it's AI, ChatGPT, the monolith, the magic box, the ghost in the machine says it's worth 16 times what you're saying it's worth. Okay. I mean, I think it's very notable you did not choose ChatGPT to be your representation of this matter, right? Like, you could have, right? You could have just done pro se. You could have represented yourself, and all your motions could have been ChatGPT, but you didn't. You didn't, and there's a reason why you didn't. The reason is it wouldn't work. It would not be able to do that. It is not there yet, right? So let's take a breath. Let's realize that you didn't choose ChatGPT. You knew ChatGPT couldn't do the job, right? So when you're having the conversation with the attorney about like, hey, ChatGPT says my case is worth this much, the next thing out of your mouth should be, why do you feel differently? That is the correct question, right? I applaud you for having this conversation with your attorney. You should have conversations around valuation with your attorney. That is wise, correct, and good. But the question should be, you disagree, tell me why. And if your attorney says, no, we have a problem. This attorney is failing. And if the attorney says, because you're a moron, we have a problem. This is failing. But if the attorney turns on this section of this video and plays it for you, which I think some people might, which also apparently happens way more often than I realized. Like, these videos are being used in law offices. Not, I mean, actually to train some associates, but like, I've heard from associates who are like, yeah, they're making us watch your videos. Wild. But also, like, law firms are like, hey, paralegals be like, hey, the attorney's really busy, but this question you asked is actually answered in this video by this Vince White guy. Let me play it for you. And then repeatedly, those clients that some paralegal played a video for will call me up and be like, hey, my attorney won't answer my calls. Will you? And then if I do, they're like, hey, can I hire you instead of my attorney? It's like, well, no, is your attorney doing a job? Like, why? You know, like, and if the attorney doesn't have time and day for you, well, this is a good case. We'll talk about it. Like, I'm not going to, just because somebody's got an attorney doesn't mean I won't take their case, but like, you know, we're an expensive option. There should really be a good reason why you're hiring us, right? I don't know. This is just, this is 15 minutes. This is going to be way too long. We might need to chop this up. I don't know. It's a mess. This is a mess in the industry, and an individual, so it's easy for me in this video to give all these examples, right? But it's hard for individual attorneys to have this conversation 1,000 times, right? Because I assure you, the clients who are into AI, it's over and over and over again, right? Oh my God. Last thing. Do not take confidential information from your case and upload it to AI without checking the terms of service on your AI. Because generally, those terms of service appear to grant the AI the ability to keep, maintain, and train on the data you upload to it. Meaning you have potentially breached the terms of the confidentiality of your confidential information that you have in your case. Now, how often will that be an issue? I don't know. I know it's already been an issue for someone. I know that for a fact. So be careful out there. Okay? This is a 15-minute video. No one's going to watch a 15-minute video. What was I thinking? We'll need to break this up. This is probably 5 videos. Everybody, I hope this is helpful. Like, subscribe, comment down below. Share our channel so it can grow. I got another video about AI now. AI and the WARN Act in New York State. Very interesting developments. Take care. Yeah, if this was bad, if you don't like this, give me the thumbs down. I don't care. I'm fine with it. All engagement is good engagement. When you say mean things to me in the chat and in the comments, you're helping me. Thank you. Bye.